tournament game between Cleveland State and Indiana. This game was a classic David versus Goliath matchup. Indiana was seeded third in the East region with a 21-7 regular season record. Bobby Knight's team was led by junior guard Steve Alford. Indiana was making its 15th appearance in the NCAA tournament. Meanwhile, their opponents, the Cleveland State Vikings, were making their first ever NCAA tournament appearance. Kevin Mackey's team was the 14th seed in the East with a 27-3 record. The Vikings were led by a pair of Clintons, Clinton Smith and Clinton Ramsey. Smith averaged just over 16 points a game, while Ramsey averaged more than 14 points a game. During the game, we will challenge you with some classic trivia and relive college basketball's plays of the decade from the 1980s. It's Cleveland State against Indiana in the first round of the 1986 NCAAs, right here on ESPN Classic.
Good afternoon again, fans, and for the first time, good afternoon to those of you who missed the first game of this afternoon's doubleheader, won by St. Joseph 60-59 over the University of Richmond. On behalf of the Syracuse University Athletic Department, the Carrier Dome, and the NCAA, welcome to the best on-campus sports arena in America. And the second game of this afternoon's doubleheader between the Cleveland State Vikings and the University of Indiana Hoosiers. Introducing the starting lineup. At forward for Cleveland State, the visiting team. At 6'6", a senior from Cleveland, Ohio, number 24, Clinton Smith. For the University of Indiana, at 6'6", a freshman from Cincinnati, Ohio, number 20, Rick Calloway. For Cleveland State, a 6'5" junior from Toledo, Ohio, number 44, Clinton Ramsey. For the University of Indiana, 6'6" junior from Grand Rapids, Michigan, number 34, Andre Harris. At center for Cleveland State, a 6'8" junior from Cleveland, Ohio, number 33, Eric Mudd. At center for Indiana, 6'7" junior from Westchester, Illinois, number 24, Darrell Thomas. At guard for Cleveland State, a 6'1" freshman from New York City, number 10, Ken McFadden. For Indiana, 6'2" junior from Newcastle, Indiana, number 12, Steve Alford. For Cleveland State, a 5'10" junior from Dorchester, Massachusetts, number 5, Ed Bryant. And for the University of Indiana, 6'4" senior from Anderson, Indiana, number 21, Winston Morgan. The head coach of Cleveland State, Kevin Mackey. And the head coach of basketball at the University of Indiana, Bobby Knight.
Indiana, the second-place team of the Big Ten with a 13-5 conference mark against Cleveland State. The winners of the Association of Mid-Continent Universities. They not only won the regular season, they won the tournament. This is Ralph Hacker along with Dan Bonner from the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, and we're ready to go. Eric Mudd, 33, moving into jump as he jumps against Andre Harris of Indiana. The officials are Tom Crane, Merv Shapiro, and Blaine Sylvester. Indiana's Hoosiers. What will the defense be for Cleveland State, Dan Bonner?
Well, Cleveland State is starting the game in a man-to-man defense.
Something that didn't work on yesterday as Indiana goes on top 2-0 as Winston Morgan, who's averaging 6.8 a game, gets it. What about Indiana defensively? Always the man-to-man.
Always the man-to-man. Cleveland State is not really very comfortable playing in a half-court offensive set. They would much prefer to cause some turnovers and fast break.
Cleveland State with Clinton Smith, an outstanding basketball player for them. Eric Mudd. Cleveland State likes to take it on the inside as Bryant has it blocked. The one problem that Cleveland State may have among all the others today is they're not great outside shooters.
Cleveland State does not have a very good perimeter game, but they penetrate very well. There, Clinton Ramsey pitches it off to Eddie Bryant, who is a very good penetrator. Indiana, a little bad luck there. He stepped on the line.
And on the inbounds play, Indiana deflected it and went out of bounds. Bobby Knight, outstanding head coach of Indiana, who has won 2 NCAA championships already in his career.
And he's concerned about the physical capabilities of these kids from Cleveland State. They're very, very good athletes.
This is the mouse, Ken McFadden. He allegedly scored 55 points on Pearl, Washington in a playground game in New York City. First shot of the day missed. And a foul on Indiana.
And that's one thing that Indiana can't afford. When the ball goes up on the board, the Hoosiers have to make sure they get in position and block somebody out.
Winston Morgan draws the first foul of the ball game. Bobby Knight calls Daryl Thomas over, as you see at the top of your screen, and talks with him. As Clinton Ramsey, whose brother played at Ohio State, then is now playing with the New York Nets. Clinton originally signed with Ohio State. He gets his first.
I'm sure what Coach Bob Knight mentioned to Daryl Thomas, Ralph, was the fact that Ramsey's now at the line for 2 free throws when a block out would have kept Cleveland State off the board. Now here you see Cleveland State. This is their press.
They play 94 feet. This is what they plan on doing to Indiana all day. It'll be out of bounds, Indiana.
And I'll tell you what, Ralph, Indiana's got to do a better job handling the pressure than that. You get a look at Clinton Smith. Now he's 6'6". He's going to be matched up there trying to prevent the long pass, and that's a travel against Winston Morgan. It was an out-of-bounds play under the basket as opposed to after a shot, so Winston Morgan was not permitted to move.
And Bobby Knight is questioning the officials' wisdom on that. Yesterday, Kevin Mackey told me that he feels that his team can definitely win this ball game today. I think he's totally convinced of it. A foul is on Indiana, as Indiana's Rick Callaway draws his first, team second.
Again, Ralph, we point out that Cleveland State, while they do not have a good perimeter shooting game, they're all excellent athletes. They can all put the ball on the floor and drive to the basket. That's 2 good penetration moves we've seen in the last 2 possessions.
Indeed. As Clinton Ramsey, a 6'5" junior out of Toledo, is at 2 in a row already, goes up there. All of Cleveland State's points have come from Ramsey, and they've all come from the free throw line. Ramsey averages 14.2 a game.
Get out and hurry.
It is theirs, the honorable mention AP All-American. Drops it through. It is 4-2. There you see it.
Indiana hasn't gotten the ball in bounds yet.
The pressure coming from 94 feet.
And they don't stop either. They're going to stay right after Indiana.
Winston Morgan. Winston Morgan leads Indiana in assists. The little man, Alford, has to score big today, but we get a foul down low against Cleveland State. It's going to be on Eric Mudd.
When Indiana is able to get the ball across half court and get it set up in the half court offense, then the advantage moves over to Indiana.
Out of bounds, Indiana. Steve Alford, number 12, to put it in.
And here we see a 2-3 zone by Cleveland State after the out of bounds play.
Alford gets it.
And that's what Kevin Mackey most feared. He said they didn't have anybody who could guard Steve Alford.
He says he's going to give up the 16-foot and beyond shot to Alford today. He says we don't do a good job of picking up any team outside of the distance. Rebound belongs to Indiana as Andre Harris, who's averaging 5.5 a game, rips it off.
And Andre Harris has rebounded in double figures for the last 3 or 4 games by Indiana. And he's a key player for the Hoosiers.
Steve Alford, the only active collegiate who played in the 1984 Olympic Games, misses it.
Thus far, Indiana's doing a nice job getting back on defense after a missed shot. They worked very hard on that in practice yesterday.
It is 6-4. Cleveland State out on top. The score was tied at 2-all. Then Cleveland State went on top 5-4, and they've done it again. This is the Mouse, McFadden. That is Kevin Mackey, who's won 62 games and lost 37 at Cleveland. Wide open, Indiana's Daryl Thomas gets his first 2.
That's the way you beat a press, Ralph. You get the ball down the court and make the opposition pay for pressing you.
That's the first time Indiana has looked good against it in 3 trips down the court. Jump ball, nice move by Indiana.
Stu Robinson doing an excellent job. Again, this comes from the fact that Indiana is not really concerned about the outside shooting ability of Cleveland State. You can see Robinson, as soon as that ball goes inside, he goes down to help out. Nice play.
Robinson, of course, started 14 games last year. Started 5 in the middle of this season. He's in now replacing Winston Morgan of Indiana.
First substitution by Indiana, but we'll see many more by Cleveland State.
Clinton Smith gets it, his 4th point. As a matter of fact, Cleveland State starters only average 25.5 minutes a game.
There's nobody on the team that averages more than 25 minutes. They play 10 guys and they run them in and out.
Indiana trails by 4 as Alford is picked up by McFadden. They trail by 2 now as Daryl Thomas gets his 4th point. Morgan has 2, Alford has 2.
You can easily see the contrast in this game. If Indiana is able to get it down the court and set up in the half-court offense, that's a foul inside.
The foul is going to be on Cleveland State's Clinton Smith, his first illegal pick. As Cleveland State makes a change already, they get Bob Crawford, the #1 man, off the bench coming in.
And Paul Stewart as well comes in the game. Number 30, Paul Stewart, is a singer. He sings in his spare time.
Went to school at Alabama, only stayed a semester and transferred away to Cleveland State. It is out of bounds. That will go to Cleveland State. They put the pressure on Alford. Let's look at Alford and see what kind of move he makes here.
We talked about Steve Alford. There he is. He elbows McFadden, then just loses his balance. Nobody from Cleveland State even touched the ball, but it was that pressure that forced the turnover by Alford.
Cleveland State leads by 2. It's Bryant, 3 left-handers on this team.
Tough shot by McFadden. Good defense by the Hoosiers.
Out of bounds. It's going to go to Indiana.
Saw some work by the Indiana inside players. Ricky Callaway making a nice move up the court. That's one of the reasons why he was the freshman of the year in the Big Ten.
He was an outstanding player in Cincinnati in high school. He won the AAA Player of the Year award as a senior.
Saw the strength of Andre Harris there, too. He was just trying to get a handle on the ball and nearly tipped it in.
Robinson taking over the point position. The zone has changed. They've gone to a zone, as a matter of fact, after Cleveland State had opened man-to-man.
We don't know. This is the 3rd zone they've shown. This is a 1-2-2. Excellent pass inside by Stu Robinson.
Andre Harris gets it, and our game is tied for the 2nd time at 10-all. 15:46 to go in the first half. Eddie Bryant.
It's important for Alford and for now Stu Robinson in the game to cut down on the penetration by the Viking guards. They don't want to let those guys loose in the middle.
McFadden, they can't afford to let him get away. McFadden is number 10. This is Bryant. At 5'10", they say he can easily dunk the ball.
His liability today may be, though, Ralph, that he cannot shoot very well from the outside.
Bad pass on the inside that Alford had smelled out.
Well, I don't know who's kidding who there. I don't know what Bryant's doing trying to post Alford up inside.
Alford one-on-one against McFadden. Rebound belongs to Cleveland State.
Crawford got a piece of that on the way up.
McFadden. Stewart. As Cleveland State goes back out on top. Paul Stewart, who's averaging 4.7 a game, does it. How long can Indiana take this intense defense that Cleveland State is putting up? Will they break it like they did there? The foul is going to be on Ed Bryant before the shot. Ed Bryant out of Dorchester, Massachusetts, commits the foul.
We've got 3 more substitutions coming into the game for Cleveland State. We'll see that kind of running in and out of the game all day.
Ray Salters is one of those. Hood is into the ball game. I thought he got him before the shot. Obviously not. As they go up to the free throw line, it is Stu Robinson, who's hitting 83.3 from the free throw line this year, looking for his first point since he checked into the game. 14:40 to go. First half. Stu Robinson.
You talked about the Cleveland State pressure, Ralph, and most of that pressure is in the immediate area where the ball's thrown in. There's 4 guys trying to trap, and if Indiana can get past that first pressure, then they've got a 4-on-1 or a 3-on-1 coming down the other way.
The game is tied again. Stu Robinson hit it. 14:40 to go in the first half of play. Indiana and Cleveland State all tied up at 12 all. And there's a timeout on the court with the score all tied at 12.
Ever wonder what it's like to face a 90-mile-per-hour fastball? Well, now you can capture and share that exciting experience with the amazing new Microcam, one of the world's smallest DV camcorders from Bell & Howell, a trusted brand in photo technology for over 100 years. It's so tiny, it's smaller than your pinky, yet it records high-resolution digital video and still photos with sound. There's no need to frame your shot, just aim and shoot. Its super wide lens lets you capture all the action. With the Bell & Howell Microcam, you can easily star in your own action videos. Record yourself while riding a challenging bike trail. Capture that awesome dunk, perfect your tennis game. Even attach it to your motorcycle to create spectacular videos. The Microcam is manually and sound activated, and since it's so tiny, it's easily concealed, so it can be discreetly placed in your home. Now you'll know exactly what goes on while you're away. Its tough casing makes it virtually indestructible. With the Microcam, you'll always have a video camera handy whenever you need it. And it comes with 2 gig storage capacity that's easily increased to 8 gigs, letting you record up to 2 hours of high-quality video. The USB cable lets you quickly connect to your computer, and the AVI format makes it easy to upload and share your videos on the web. The Microcam comes with its own charger, and it's USB rechargeable with up to 3 hours of use per charge. Similar products are sold elsewhere for $130 or more, but through this exclusive TV-only offer, the Bell & Howell Microcam is yours for just 3 easy payments of $19.95. Order now and you'll get this incredible bonus package absolutely free. It includes a wall mount, clip and dock, weatherproof silicone sleeve, and lanyard. So order your Bell & Howell Microcam now.
To get your Bell & Howell Microcam, have your credit card ready and call toll-free. 1-800-635-6868. Call 1-800-635-6868. That's 1-800-635-6868.
It is all tied up here in the Carrier Dome. This is Ralph Acker along with Dan Bonner. Indiana and Cleveland State. Indiana has never been to the front of the ball game, and they trail by as many as 4. And the pressure defense of Cleveland State is really looking good.
Cleveland State has been able to force a couple of turnovers. There you get a look at the score. Michigan leading Akron 67-62 in the second half. Under a minute to go, we understand, in that game.
We've got a long way to go in this one. Cleveland State getting the ball in bounds. They've already made a complete change in their lineup. Hood is in, number 4, and a whistle. It goes out of bounds to Indiana. Turnover. Slattery is the man who turned it over for Cleveland State.
Got an entirely different 5 in the game. Now there's that pressure. There's 3 guys triple teaming right there.
And Callaway, the freshman, gets it away into front court to Aldridge. He wastes no time as Alford knocks the bottom out for his 4th point, and Indiana has their first lead of the day. Another foul. This time it's going to be on Indiana, and it's on Ricky Callaway. That's number 2 on the freshman.
The game has gotten rather physical inside early. The players are going at one another underneath the basket. That time Callaway got caught. I thought the time previously down the court, Bob Crawford lit him up with an elbow, but nobody saw Crawford.
Sean Hood, number 4, out of Boston, bobs the ball inbounds. This is Bob Crawford. Rejection and a goaltending call against Indiana. Bob Crawford ties the ball game up at 14-all.
Get a chance, Kevin. That's Kevin Mackey right there. He's very happy about the turn of events. Once again, you see it, Cleveland State battling very hard on the board. The hook by Crawford, but he follows his own shot as nobody blocks him out. Clearly a goaltend by Harris.
And for the second time this afternoon, Indiana fails to get it in bounds. It is out of bounds to Cleveland State, 14-14.
Cleveland State just continues to create opportunities for themselves with that pressing defense.
Steve Corbett over to Hood. 13:55 to go. First half of play. We're tied up here in the Carrier Dome, 14-14. Ralph Acker along with Dan Bonner. Indiana had gone to the front, but a goaltending call on Indiana tied the ball game up again.
Indiana's been having some trouble handling the Cleveland State pressure.
Rebound slammed down by Andre Harris.
That was a rebound with authority. Nobody was taking that from him.
The break goes to Indiana as Callaway gets the bucket and he draws the foul. The foul will be on Steve Corbin. Ricky Callaway gets his first 2 points of the day.
Indiana this time does a nice job getting the ball down the court in the fast break situation. Excellent pass into Callaway, who's able to ignore the pressure by Paul Stewart and lay it in.
This is only the second time this afternoon that Indiana has been to the front, as Bob Knight calls Alford back to talk to him. Cleveland State, surprisingly enough, has done a nice job on the boards against a team from Indiana that is much larger.
Cleveland State has some real leapers inside. They're quick guys, and lots of times those kind of players are very difficult to block out.
Cleveland State was the second leading scoring team in the nation this year, averaging 90.2 points a game.
Boy, what a rebound by Harris. He didn't get it, but he tipped it away from Crawford.
Now it's Stu Robinson to pull it down. Here's Alford.
Nice
Great
pass.
Harris gets the bucket, and a foul on Indiana State.
Indiana has been able the last 2 trips down the court to play in transition. Give you a chance. There's Alford with the pump fake right there. Tremendous pass to Callaway. Now everybody's got to go over to help out against Callaway. Nobody's able to block out Andre Harris, and he just works the boards to perfection.
Paul Stewart was in battling along with Crawford on the rebound, and Crawford is the man who draws the personal.
Harris had a problem early in the season, Ralph, getting in foul trouble. Lately, he's been able to stay out of foul trouble, and that's 5.4 is deceiving. He's been averaging in double figures over the last 4 or 5 games.
And Indiana's missed 2 in a row from the free throw line, but their biggest lead is on the boards now at 18-14. 12:48 to go.
Cleveland State has really been having a tough time trying to play in the half-court offense against the good Indiana man-to-man. You notice how the Indiana man-to-man is packed back inside. They're not really trying to deny the outside passing lane.
They've made it 18-16.
I think Bob Knight will give that up.
Ramsey got it. They come back with their original 5 for Cleveland State. Ramsey, Smith, Mudd, McFadden, and Bryant. Wholesale substitutions. This is Alford wide open. Big rebound by Indiana. Andre Harris gets number 6.
Good hustle by Daryl Thomas. He got the ball, and not only that, he was able to stay in bounds and make a nice pass to Harris.
Hoosiers by 4. Clinton Smith. Or Ramsey, rather, as Ramsey gets number 8.
That's the penetration that Cleveland State can perform so well.
Hoosiers again taking it coast to coast as Stu Robinson gets his first field goal.
Nice point. Nice job against the press, but you see Cleveland State comes right back. They're not going to stop the whole game.
Stu Robinson has done a nice job keeping the ball out of McFadden's hand. Foul on Indiana as you hear Daryl Thomas say, "Oh, ref, not me." That is the 4th team foul against Indiana.
We mentioned that it's important for Indiana to stop the Cleveland State penetration, and the difficulty about that is not only the guards from Cleveland State that can penetrate well. Mudd and Ramsey and Smith are all very good off the dribble. Indiana's going to really have to be on their toes.
Mudd up at the line. Eric Mudd out of Cleveland gets his first. He hits 61.4 from the free throw line. A 6'8" junior.
Unless anyone thinks that Cleveland State can't play with a team like this, Cleveland State beat DePaul by 15, lost by only 4 at Ohio State.
The only 2 common opponents they had were Ohio State and Michigan. Of course, Michigan beat Indiana twice. They also beat Cleveland State 105-85.
Well, of course, Kent State's a common opponent too, but Indiana won that one by 13 and Cleveland State won by about 40.
22-20. Indiana going to the boards much harder than they did early in the game, but Andre Harris just couldn't control it.
Cleveland State does not appear to be very fundamentally sound with the blockouts, Ralph. They prefer to try to use their athletic ability to go after the ball. I think they would be wise to get in their bodies against somebody and blocking out.
You said in our opening remarks a comment that was passed along by Kevin Mackey yesterday, as the foul is going to be on Andre Harris of Indiana, is that he didn't go after the top of the line players, that he went after those that have been passed over.
And these players can really scrap inside. They know what to do with the ball when they get it. Excellent play by Mudd, trying to post up in there. He just simply would not let Andre Harris around, and that caused the foul.
That was the 5th team foul against Indiana. Indiana has committed 5 team fouls. Cleveland State likewise.
Indiana, again, not playing in the passing lanes, but trying to pack it back inside. Did not do a very good job that time. Excellent move again inside by Mudd.
And Mudd has just tied the game at 22 all. 10:45 to go. Andre Harris of Indiana. He unties it.
Nice move by Andre Harris. Indiana, the last few minutes, has really handled the pressure much better.
McFadden. And he's fouled. Great move by the Mouse. And Stu Robinson draws the 6th Indiana foul.
The Mouse is a legend around. You get a good look at him right there. Is a legend around New York City playgrounds. Never played high school ball. Got all his seasoning on the New York City playgrounds in an AAU competition. You can see Stu Robinson hit him in the chest, and down the Mouse goes. I don't think Robinson really hit him that hard.
The Mouse is a 21-year-old freshman.
That's what he admits to being.
The Mouse has 4 points today, though. He could be the most exciting player that anybody will see in any region of the NCAA this year.
And he generally has his big games against the big teams.
25-24, Cleveland State. As Darryl Thomas puts Indiana back out on top. The Mouse trying to break along the baseline. It's knocked away out of bounds.
Indiana made an interesting move, Ralph, after the first couple minutes. Alford is not really handling the ball in the front court area. Indiana is using other people to break through the pressure, and then Alford down on the other end of the court has had open shots and has been really passing the ball very well.
Quentin Ranchett chases down the errant ball. Bryant put Cleveland State back out on top by 1. As Bryant gets his first and steals the ball. Ramsey, they lead by 3. Ramsey gets the crowd going here in the Carrier Dome.
Look at, there's 4 Cleveland State guys down on that end. There's a foul that time on McFadden, but you can see that if Indiana can get past that pressure, they're going to have a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1 down on their offensive end. But to the credit of Cleveland State, they're doing a nice job of defensive pressure, and you can see Bob Knight is climbing all over his players. That was Stu Robinson.
Indeed. There's a timeout on the floor here in the Carrier Dome with the score. Cleveland State 29, Indiana 26.
Get your career cooking. Literally. With Le Cordon Bleu training. You could train as a culinary professional and work at restaurants, resorts, bakeries, catering companies, and more. Call now for a complimentary career guide.
Call Le Cordon Bleu School at 888-753-6888. 888-753-6888. Call now.
Saturday, the regular season goes out with a bang.
Kemba Walker buries that one.
At 2, Big East Player of the Year contenders Kemba Walker and Ben Hansbrough leave it all on the floor.
Hansbrough all the way to the bucket. Him at his best.
Then in primetime, Texas is determined to avoid a repeat of last season's slide, while Baylor wants off the bubble with a big win in Waco. 7th-ranked Notre Dame versus number 16 Connecticut at 2. Number 8 Texas versus Baylor at 9. Saturday on ESPN.
NCAA TV and marketing rights fees. Where does the money go? Long answer, 96% of the revenue is used to fund 88 championships and support 1,055 member colleges and universities, who together provide $2 billion annually in financial aid to more than 400,000 student athletes so they can compete and learn. Short answer, we put our money where our mission is.
Your favorite pants are hemmed for heels, but you want to wear flats. How do you fix that?
Hi, I'm Lori Leland, and you are going to love this. It's Style Snaps from Hemming My Way, the fast, easy way to change your hem to fit any shoe.
Just peel off the backing of the Style Snaps and place them wherever you want your hem. And snap, snap, snap. No sewing, no ironing, and no gluing. Now your favorite jeans will work with every shoe in your closet, saving you money.
And it's not just for hems. Tame Unruly lapels, belts, and pockets without a stitch.
As part of this special TV introduction, we'll send you 16 Style Snaps for just $20. Call right now and we'll cut the price in half. That's 16 Style Snaps for just $10. But we're not done. We're going to give you double the Style Snaps free. Just pay separate processing. You get 32 Style Snaps, a $40 value for just $10. Call or log on now.
Welcome back. I'm Kara Capuano. Time now for some classic trivia. Who was the first #2 seed to lose a first-round game in the NCAA tournament? Was it Syracuse, Arizona, Kansas, or Purdue? We'll have that answer a little later in the game. Now let's get back to our 1986 NCAA tournament thriller between Cleveland State and Indiana.
With 9:49 to go in the first half, Cleveland State leads at 29-26 over Indiana.
And Cleveland State has been all over Indiana trying to get the ball in bounds. This is a perfect illustration. Now just watch the way when the ball goes in, the guys from Cleveland State are all over the place. And what Bob Knight was telling Stu Robinson on that play is, for heaven's sakes, don't throw the ball to somebody standing in the corner where it's very easy to double team.
Look at the turnovers. Cleveland State has forced 22.7 turnovers this year. Indiana has committed 13.3 a game. Indiana getting it in. Stu Robinson. Look at the turnovers today. 7-3. Indiana almost #8 for Indiana.
And Cleveland State really gambles trying to force the turnover.
Alford with a great pass on the inside. He's done a lot of that here in this half of play. Bryant.
Watch out, Trey!
The steal was by Ramsey.
These guys don't quit, Ralph. They continue to go after it. That was a bad shot by Bryant. Good defense by Alford.
The Syracuse crowd, and they're already in here because their team plays tonight. They bought up 17,000 tickets, have swung to the side of Cleveland State.
That's the penetration ability of Clinton Ramsey. He went right by Andre Harris.
Cleveland State has moved ahead by their biggest margin of the day by 5 as Alford misses this one. Callaway goes underneath. Back up, and it is there by Daryl Thomas as Thomas gets #8. Quite a battle going on here in the Carrier Dome. The pressing defense of Cleveland State certainly causing the Hoosiers of Indiana problems.
Certainly is. So far, Cleveland State has been able to play pretty much their game, running and pressing.
It is there. What a shot by Clinton Smith.
Now you say, well, that's an incredible shot. He's not going to make that very often, but that's the kind of shots that Cleveland State often lives and dies with.
They don't put the ball up with great rotation. They don't use great form. It is playground style that Cleveland State puts forth in every ball game, and they've won 27 of those this year. Ramsey.
Oh, what a play by Ramsey.
3-on-2. And the foul is on Indiana's Stu Robinson.
Ramsey made a great play, tipping the ball over the head of Stu Robinson, who I think gave up on it because he was standing there waiting for the ball to get to him. Here you get a chance to look at it. Ramsey just never stops hustling after the ball. Then again, taps it back to Bryant. Down on the fast break. They missed the layup here, but watch Mudd stay right after it. You got to wonder where all the guys from Indiana are. There were only 2 people in your picture.
If he had have made the bucket, then it would have been a part of the highlight film at the end of the year. Bob Knight paces the sideline, but very quiet for most of the afternoon. Eric Mudd at the line. 8:03.
We said that Cleveland State did not act as if they were intimidated by having to go up against Indiana, and certainly we've seen no indication of any intimidation factor so far.
Cleveland State stepping up with Mudd, dropping it in. We've got Hood into the lineup for Cleveland State. Corbin gets ready to go out as McFadden comes back in, replacing him. In just a little bit, they'll make another change, but it'll be for the shooter. Also into the ball game, Clinton Smith for Indiana, or for Cleveland State.
Now what has happened is they're going to make McFadden go back out of the game because no time has run off the clock. McFadden was in the game. They took him out. I think Kevin Mackey just wanted to tell him something, but until a couple seconds run off that clock, or 1 second anyhow, the Mouse cannot come back in the game.
And they'll have to bring Steve Corbin back into the game as Mudd gets ready to put another one up.
That's a good job by referee Tom Frame.
Somebody was in the lane too soon. And a foul on Indiana.
I could not tell whether it was Callaway who was in the lane too soon or Harris who was in the lane too soon.
Disregard the foul. Let's just call it in the lane too soon.
And you can see the Mouse there. The poor Mouse can't get back in the game.
And he makes good the second time as he gets 6. Back into the game, Bob Crawford of Cleveland State, along with the Mouse, McFadden. 8:03 to go, first half. Indiana is trailing by 7 points.
There you see Cleveland State can really do it all. There we see Clinton Smith wiping up the floor. They've done everything so far.
Kevin Mackey just shouts the instructions out. He's telling them how to play basketball, not how to clean the floor.
And they're still going to get McFadden out of the game. McFadden cannot come back in because no time is run off the clock.
You need to tell him he needs to know somebody to get back into this game.
That's right. Maybe if he had a press pass, he could get in. Tom Frame's got to wonder what they're trying to pull the wool over his eyes over there or what.
Indiana just beating the count. Now they drop back. They protected the front court. Winston Morgan.
There's a turnover again. No, it didn't go off Morgan. I thought it might have bounced off Winston Morgan. But Indiana backs up. I don't understand what they're backing up. And here comes McFadden. He's finally able to get back in the game.
The crowd loves the little man from New York City. It is into Stu Robinson, and he falls. The jump ball. It will go to Indiana on the alternating possession.
I'll tell you, Stu Robinson has to be very grateful that Ray Slater decided he was going to lean over and try to pick up the ball. Slater's a big guy, and he dived on top there. Stu Robinson might have been hurt.
Robinson has played pretty well since he came in, replacing Winston Morgan. Steve Alford has not had a good afternoon. He is only 2 out of 7 from the outside, but the turnovers are the thing that have really hurt Indiana. Look at the points after those.
That's Cleveland. That's a big part of Cleveland State's offense is their pressing defense. Here it is again. It's man-to-man defense down on this end of the court. Alford.
Winston Morgan. Now to Stu Robinson.
Sort of man-to-man. Anytime the ball comes by, everybody's reaching for it. What effort.
Rebound is controlled by Bob Crawford. McFadden nearly walking with the basketball was Salters. Back to McFadden. This is Sean Hood, his running mate now at guard. Hood is number 4.
Salters looks like he wouldn't lose the ball. He's really a muscular guy out there. Very much in contrast to the other Cleveland State players who are all sort of thin.
Yesterday, he clashed going for the bucket with McFadden. They jostled around with a few good-natured barbs. That's Crawford from the outside, his 4th point. And it's a 37-28 Cleveland State 9-point lead.
And here's Alford breaking the pressure this time as opposed to being down on the offensive end for the shot.
Could Cinderella now live in Cleveland, Ohio? It is there. That's Rick Calloway getting number 4.
Cleveland State playing the kind of game the Vikings want to play. That's going to be a foul against Bob Crawford. Trying to set the screen inside.
That's a second foul on Crawford, and both of them have been just that way.
Indiana playing the tough man-to-man defense inside. Bob Crawford trying to spring one of his teammates loose is going to stand up, and you can see he's moving, trying to body block Ricky Calloway as he tries to get Ray Salters loose.
Ramsey came back into the ball game for Cleveland State. Salters goes out of the contest as Cleveland State has their own little huddle down here. 6 minutes, 13 seconds to go. We're in the first half. It is 37-30. That was the 7th team foul, so we're in the bonus situation as Ricky Calloway steps up. Indiana has not hit well from the free throw line at all this afternoon.
And Crawford has done a nice job on the boards. Boy, and there's Crawford and Ricky Calloway, Daryl Thomas. They're really going at one another. Sean Hood with the ball again. He's one of those penetrators.
It is out of bounds. It was partially blocked, and it'll go out of bounds to Cleveland State.
That time Ramsey did not give a pump fake like he's given in there previously, and as a result, Daryl Thomas was able to time that shot and blocked it out of bounds. What a pass.
Indiana controlling the boards as Daryl Thomas brings it down. He and Andre Harris are the leading scorers for Indiana with 8 apiece. Leading scorer of the game is Cleveland's Clinton Ramsey. It is there.
As Kevin Mackey said, Ralph, they really don't have anybody to match up against Steve Alford.
And as we said earlier, they're going to let him shoot the long bomb today. They're going to give it up to him. This is McFadden. Boom! Indiana keeping Cleveland State from getting the second shot. 37-32. Indiana down by 5. Alford again. The quick hands of Steve Alford on the release.
Alford wasn't set that time. His feet weren't in very good position. That was an off-balance jumper. Not a good shot by Alford. That's a walk.
Ramsey dragging the pivot foot. A turnover for Cleveland State. It's number 44. Clinton Ramsey did it. 4 minutes 57 seconds to go from the Carrier Dome. There's timeout on the court with a score: Cleveland State 37, Indiana 32.
Are you ready to get real about what it takes to have a great core? Are you ready to put your upper abs, lower abs, and obliques on fire? Then you are ready for T-Core, the radical new core workout for men that is going to kick your butt in just 6 minutes, guaranteed. Ordinary crunches can strain your neck and shoulders, but T-Core harnesses the ab-flattening, muscle-burning power of up to 120 pounds of progressive resistance in a full-range seated crunch that works your upper abs, lower abs, and even those hard-to-reach obliques. Just sit down, plug in the T-Core, and start pumping. You will feel the burn in seconds. And with T-Core's unique swivel pad, you move from side to side to target those hard-to-reach obliques. Then lean back for a radical leg lift to give those lower abs an insane burn.
That's it.
Now you can shrink your midsection, build definition, and core strength fast. And now the breakthrough T-Core can be yours for the radical introductory price of only $29.95. Call now and we'll also send you this 6-minute upper body workout DVD that will hold your feet to the fire through the 6-minute super effective muscle burning T-Core workout. One simple adjustment takes it from 40 pounds to 80 pounds to 120 pounds of radical resistance that targets right where it matters. All done while you are seated. 3 exercises, 6 minutes, and an ironclad kick butt guarantee. Do the T-Core workout once. If your abs are not on fire, send it back for a full refund. Think you can handle it? Then call or go online now and reshape your core in just 6 minutes a day with T-Core for Men.
Call 1-800-698-2709 or log on to tcformen.com. Order now.
This Saturday, the Nationwide Series heads to Las Vegas, where quick decisions and risky moves reign supreme.
Keep digging.
And everyone is looking to make their mark. All bets are off as Trevor Bayne, Ricky Stenhouse, and the Young Guns try to build momentum in the series, while savvy pros Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards look to keep up their blistering pace. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Las Vegas. Coverage begins Saturday at 2:30 Eastern on ABC.
There's some appreciative grandkids for you. This telecast is presented by authority of the NCAA, and any use of this program without express written consent is prohibited. The announcers for this program have been approved and contracted by NCAA Productions. Transportation arrangements provided through Fugazi International Travel, the official travel agency for NCAA championships. Indiana against the pressure, getting it in or trying to.
Winston Morgan bouncing the ball off the legs of Paul Stewart, and you can hear Bob Knight in the background saying, you people have to move into the middle of the court.
Alford getting it in. To Stu Robinson. Out to Winston Morgan.
Cleveland State playing in a man-to-man defense, trying very hard to create a helter-skelter atmosphere and doing a pretty good job right now.
Callaway. As Callaway comes up with a 6-point. He got inside of it that time and had a little 6 or 7 foot easy shot.
That little shot off the dribble is really an excellent move by Callaway.
(37-34) Cleveland State.
Cleveland State somehow looks uncomfortable in this half-court game, Ralph. If Indiana can force this more often, they'd be in good shape.
It is there. They didn't look too uncomfortable on that shot as Eric Mudd gets number 8.
They're not supposed to be able to shoot from the outside, Ralph.
They learned something this afternoon. Indiana getting it down low. And Cleveland State coming off with a rebound.
Clinton Ramsey did a nice job to get back and help out. Thomas had position inside, but Ramsey cut him off.
Quick shot. It's there. Make it 41-34.
No worry on the part of Kevin Mackey about patience. His guys get down and fire.
Steve Alford taking it on the inside and coming up with his 8th point.
Nice move by Alford. He was 1-on-2, but was able to score anyway.
5-point ball game. Indiana behind him. Paul Stewart, the transfer from Alabama. Out to Hood. Cleveland State playing the Sox out of Indiana. They lead by 5 as they miss on the inside. Indiana has not been able to go back to the front since we had a 22-22 ball game. Cleveland State has done nearly everything right as they draw the foul there on Paul Stewart.
Cleveland State has played exactly that kind of scrappy game. Indiana has to be very careful when they come down with the rebound because Cleveland State is not willing to concede. That particular time it was a foul, but since Cleveland State plays 10-11 guys, they can afford some fouls.
Steve Alford starting to assert himself a moment ago as he came up with his 8th point. But at the line is Daryl Thomas. Free throws is something Indiana has not shot well today.
One shot, one.
And in a game, in a dogfight like Indiana's involved in right now with Cleveland State, they're going to need to convert opportunities like this.
They missed this one. Daryl Thomas, who's done a nice job on the boards for the men in green, hauls it down. Indiana State has just come up, or Cleveland State, I should say, has just come up with their 10th rebound. Indiana has 11.
Clinton Smith missed that shot. He's not a good outside shooter. Indiana cut off the penetration, which was a good move.
Stu Robinson with the basketball. Stu Robinson to Winston Morgan. This has been a combination that's been in there for a long time for Indiana.
That's going to be on Daryl Thomas, I do believe. He was battling Eric Mudd inside for position, and Mudd that time got the better of it.
Look at it again and see if you're right.
The inside play has gotten fierce. You can see now there's Daryl Thomas. Eric Mudd is 33. Thomas is 24. And clearly as Thomas tries to get position, he pushes Mudd out of the way, and you simply can't do that.
He just picks up his 2nd foul, the 7th foul against Indiana. Kevin Mackey.
That 2nd foul by Daryl Thomas is going to cause Thomas to go to the bench for the last 2:17 of this half. Todd Meyer is going to come in to play the post.
Out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. That's the first free throw, I believe, that has been officially missed by Cleveland State today.
You can see, even on the missed free throw, Cleveland State comes back with the press.
Cleveland State leading by 4, 41-37. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Winston Morgan to Alford. He's taken 10 shots in the first half.
Alford has really looked for the jump shot in this half.
He went through a period of about 5 minutes and never had the ball toward the hoop as Meyer gets it. Meyer cuts it down to a 41-39 game.
That was a good job by Indiana there. Good movement inside, created a mismatch. Meyer against the 5'10" Bryant. Indiana capitalized on.
Bobby Knight says this Indiana team has given him as much satisfaction as any Indiana team he has coached. They have been people who have achieved every goal that he set forth. And when Bobby sets up a goal, you can bet it's high.
That's right, but of course that isn't helping him out here in this half against Cleveland State.
41-39, a minute 14. 14 seconds on the shot clock. It's there.
Now that's Clinton Smith with the jump shot. He's a much better jump shooter off the dribble than he is off the stand.
A minute to go in the first half. Indiana trails by 4.
One thing that this press has done is it's taken, there's Alford.
He can fill the sack as he gets number 10. Steve Alford, the coach's son from Newcastle, Indiana, gets 22.4 per ball game. Just comes up with 10.
Indiana's done a nice job battling back into the game. There's 40 seconds left in the half. There's 35 seconds left on the shot clock, so we've got a 3 or 4 second differential here. And Cleveland State is going to be content to hang on to it, run the clock down, try to get the last shot of the half.
It's got to be a big morale boost for Cleveland State to go to the dressing room leading Indiana.
That's right. If they can hang on, they'll have the 2-point lead. And we said they were cocky coming in. If anything needed to convince them, this is it.
It is inside. It is no good. Follow-up shot. They'll lead by 4 if everything goes right, but maybe not. As Clinton Smith gets number 10. Indiana's got time. 6 seconds. 4.
And that's off Stu Robinson, I do believe.
No, they're going to give that to Indiana with 2 seconds to go. Kevin Mackey says, no, it was off of him. Bob Knight says, I didn't see it.
He looks very relaxed at the moment. There's Kevin Mackey. Said, watch the lob. They're concerned about a lob inside to Andre Harris.
It is to Meyer. It is up. It is no good. What a first half of action we have had here in the Carrier Dome. Indiana and Cleveland State. Bob Knight walks off the court with his team. He'll have the chat with them, and they'll be back again to play Cleveland State for another 20 minutes of basketball here in the Carrier Dome. That's the end of the first half with the score, Cleveland State 45, Indiana 41. We'll be back after these messages in a local station break. This is an NCAA Productions telecast.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, call now to get the new talking meter. These new meters are more accurate, they're easier to use, and the best news is you don't have to prick your fingers anymore. Arriva makes it simple. They bill Medicare directly. There are no upfront costs, and they deliver your supplies right to your door for free.
For more information, call 1-800-264-8917.
Saturday, the regular season goes out with a bang.
Campbell Walker buries that one.
At 2, Big East Player of the Year contenders Kemba Walker and Ben Hansbrough leave it all on the floor.
Hansbrough all the way to the bucket. Tim at his best.
Then in primetime, Texas is determined to avoid a repeat of last season's slide, while Baylor wants off the bubble with a big win in Waco. 7th-ranked Notre Dame versus number 16 Connecticut at 2. Number 8 Texas versus Baylor at 9. Saturday on ESPN.
NCAA TV and marketing rights fees. Where does the money go? Long answer, 96% of the revenue is used to fund 88 championships and support 1,055 member colleges and universities, who together provide $2 billion annually in financial aid to more than 400,000 student athletes so they can compete and learn. Short answer, we put our money where our mission is.
Get set, because it's the first anniversary of the new, faster, gentler Proactive. And to celebrate, we're offering free shipping. So if you have problem breakouts and want fast relief, try Proactive. Today, with your order, you'll get free shipping and our best-selling refining mask free to help zap pimples overnight.
The refining mask is that extra oomph. You know, it's like I know that no matter what, it's always going to work for me.
Proactive is different thanks to microcrystal medicine that delivers instant acne-fighting results.
I love Proactive. It's rich, it's creamy, it's gentle, it's effective.
Proactive is normally $40, but order now and pay just $19.95. Plus, we'll add our refining mask and green tea moisturizer for extra healing power and the best skin of your life. And your shipping is free. Call 1-800-390-2952.
I am very proud of my skin now, and that is something I never would have been able to say before.
Welcome back. I'm Kara Capuano. Earlier in the game, we posed this classic trivia question to you. Who was the first number 2 seed to lose a first-round game in the NCAA tournament? Was it Syracuse, Arizona, Kansas, or Purdue? The answer A, Syracuse. The Orangemen lost to Richmond in the 1991 NCAA tournament. The Spiders defeated Syracuse 73-69 to become the first 15th seed to win a tournament game. Still to come, college basketball's plays of the decade from the 1980s, from Michael Jordan to Jerome Lane. Stay with us as Cleveland State and Indiana from 1996 continues.
This is the first round of the East Regional in Syracuse, New York. Ralph Hacker with Dan Bonner. You see Cleveland State leading by 10.
And Cleveland State has built that defense with some scrappy, hard play, with a pressing defense that has really caused some problems for Indiana.
They forced Indiana into 15 turnovers already. They have almost another one there. It will be another Indiana turnover. They have averaged 22.7 turnovers a ball game. Forced.
Bob Knight's got to be careful. He doesn't need a technical foul right now. But again, great hustle by Cleveland State to force that turnover.
Ed Bryant to Ramsey. The basketball not be there, and he charged. Clinton Ramsey draws number 1. Let's look at some other scores going on. 49-45, Alabama, the Southeastern Conference, ahead of Xavier. And we've got 35-24, UNLV of Northeast Louisiana. 17:30 to go. 51-41. Indiana, Stu Robinson getting it, and a foul is going to be on Bryant. He shook himself up.
Again, Cleveland State has done a nice job hustling all over the basketball court. This is a very difficult pass to try to throw. Morgan throwing it all the way across the court. Bryant just slightly too slow to get there. He ran in pretty hard to Stu Robinson. I think fell down on, what do you think he hurt? His shoulder?
I thought it was his wrist the way that he came down, but I don't know for the moment, as he's just down to our left as we take a closer look at him. Ed Bryant. They have already brought into the ball game Sean Hood to replace him. As you see, Ed Bryant, who has scored only 2 points, a 5'10" junior out of Dorchester, Massachusetts, leads the team in assists coming into the game with 137. Indiana getting it in.
Cleveland State showing a man-to-man defense on the half-court level, but as you can see right there, they come to trap every opportunity.
Winston Morgan is in, down on the wing. That's Stu Robinson getting his 6th point of the game. 51-43, IU down.
Now Indiana's really going to have to tighten up on the defensive end of the court.
Hood to McFadden. Ramsey.
What a pass by Smith.
Smith and Ramsey teaming up.
And boy, the crowd is really behind Cleveland State right now.
Let's look at it again while we've got a foul in Indiana to go along with it.
Clinton Smith operating down low against Andre Harris, picks up his dribble. Nobody's paying any attention to Ramsey. Jadlow lost track of him. Great pass by Smith.
Jadlow found him and committed to foul. And at the line, Clinton Ramsey.
That's his 2nd miss in a row from the free throw line.
This equals the longest lead of the afternoon for Cleveland State. They trapped him. Winston Morgan. Andre Harris. Andre Harris gets double figures. The 2nd Hoosier to do so. He slapped it down to the sideline.
Good defense by Harris. Harris saw the long pass coming down the court to Clinton Smith and got up there just enough to bother it, so Smith did not have very good balance coming down.
Long way to go this afternoon here in Syracuse. 16.5 left in the game. It's to an 8-point contest. 53-45. Indiana down. Alford. A foul is going to be on Clinton Smith. His 3rd.
That was really a break for Indiana. Alford had lost control of the basketball. Alford, even though he's being subjected to a great deal of pressure, you'll be able to see him here as he's operating inside. Gets the ball out. Now watch that pass. Even under all that pressure, he's still able to make the great pass.
Alford was most valuable player as a freshman, the only person at Indiana in basketball to have ever done that. Came back to repeat as a sophomore. Most certainly he'll come back to do it again this year.
Cleveland State in that 3-2 zone on the out-of-bounds situation.
Winston Morgan across the zone to Alford. They said the little man had to score a lot today for Indiana to win. Well, he now has picked up 12. 53-47.
There's good offensive patience by Indiana. They didn't hurry anything. They waited till they got the shot to what they wanted.
Sean Hood to Crawford. Tap in. The tap in.
Paul Stewart. It was Paul. No, I thought it was Paul Stewart that got it. One or the other. The ball bottom line is Indiana still failing to block out on the offensive boards, and Cleveland State taking advantage of it.
Alford makes a good move. Beautiful pass. Jadlow making his move after the gorgeous pass by Alford, and he's fouled.
Jadlow had a tough time that particular trip down the court as he set up in position. Bob Crawford almost leveled him with an elbow, but he did not pay any attention. He goes across. Nobody goes with him. Good pass inside.
That is the 6th team foul against Cleveland State, and we have played less than 5 minutes of the second half. And at the line is Todd Jadlow. He averages 2.7 a game.
And he's being asked to carry a pretty big load here, Ralph. Darryl Thomas went out early with 3 personal fouls.
Ready, one, play.
Jadlow answers the call. 55-49, back to a 6-point game.
Indiana, of course, stays with a man-to-man defense, and they continue to be dropped down inside. Now, we just said before that Crawford had hit Jadlow with an elbow. We come down to this end of the court. Crawford and Jadlow mixed up again. That time the foul's on Jadlow.
It is, and it is his second. That is the 3rd team foul against Indiana. It means that Cleveland will get the ball out of bounds.
And it never fails. When you get hit and you retaliate, you're usually the one who gets caught.
Into McFadden, the quick jumper. McFadden gets his 9th point.
And he really uses the backboard very well. He gets a foul right there. But again, the pressing defense continues to create problems for Indiana. That pass back and across the court is a very tough one to throw.
He is none too pleased about it. He wants to know why the foul. He's out of the game. The foul is going to be on McFadden. His second. Sean Hood comes in to replace him. They'll let him cool down a little bit. And at the line is Steve Alford. Through his career at Indiana, he has averaged right at 90%. Coming into the game, Alford's hitting 86.8 for this year.
Very sweet sound as it goes through there. That's a shooter at the free throw line, all right.
On 2 occasions this year, he's hit 10 for 10. How'd they call that one? AOR. All over the ring.
They're going to have to get some paint up there and slop it on.
Indiana back within 6.
Boy, that's good defense by Winston Morgan. He wouldn't let Salters square up to the basket.
Crawford put the move on Alford, and he got it. Big move by Sean Hood.
Again, they may not be outside shooters, but they can sure make some penetration and get some shots inside.
An 8-point ball game, Cleveland State. Winston Morgan, Andre Harris. Jadlow.
Looked like a walk.
Robinson with it.
3-2 zone still by Cleveland State.
Alford trying to draw that foul. It wasn't there.
That was a nice move by Corbin to not foul. He was going to go up for that pump fake, but got himself down.
Alford again. Alford from 22. Alford starting to get the range as he gets his 16th point. He's now tied Clinton Ramsey for high point honors for the game.
Once again, Indiana showed excellent patience on offense. They've got to pick up the defense, which they're doing right now.
Salters. Stewart with the ball. In this half, Cleveland State is 7 out of 10. A foul underneath is going to be on Indiana.
Once again, the penetration killing Indiana. Sean Hood was able to drive down in the lane. When he drew the defense to him, nobody was there to block out Ray Salters. He got the rebound. Now he'll be going to the line.
Andre Harris is the guilty party. That'll be Andre's second foul. And at the line, as you said, is Ray Salters. He's only hitting 59.6 from the charity stripe this year. He'll have 2 tries.
It's interesting. He's 6'2". He plays a position inside. He weighs about 220 pounds.
And both you and I were questioning the fact as to whether Ramsey is 6'5", after seeing him stand next to Salters yesterday, who stands 6'2".
Well, either they measured Salters in a depression or they put Ramsey on a little stool when they did the measure.
That's what they did to Leroy Bird of Kentucky. They put him on a stool and measured him, became a 5'5". The rebound, Cleveland State. They just scrapped Grabbed it out of there.
Steve Corbin took it away from Jadlow. Todd Jadlow had the ball, and Corbin took it right out of his hand.
13.5 to go. Salters. A pushing foul is on Jadlow. And now he has picked up 3. The man who replaced Daryl Thomas also has 3, and he's on the bench.
Once again, the Cleveland State team is showing you that throughout their lineup, whether it be a center or a forward or a guy like Salters who can come off the bench, they've got the ability to put the ball on the court and take it to the basket. Jadlow is just outclassed that far from the hoop.
If Indiana can get it to their offensive court, they're winning the battle. We have
a walk.
Definitely. That was Eric Mudd. Indiana's hitting 4 out of 5 from the outside in this half. They just haven't been able to get control of the basketball.
The turnovers have been difficult for them. Cleveland State definitely playing the kind of game that Cleveland State wants to play.
This is Alford. They need it in his hands. Jadlow. Cleveland State controlling the boards again. That's Stewart with it. They waste no time. They go ahead 62-53.
Oh, and Indiana lost it again.
Another turnover by Indiana. Another one.
Now you might say, Ralph, well, Cleveland State didn't cause that one because they didn't steal it, but Stu Robinson was so concerned about the pressure, as you'll get a chance to see here. That's a very bad pass that he throws inside to Winston Morgan.
And he had to reach way out to try to pull it back, and it just fell off his fingertips. Inbounds pass, that's stolen away by Indiana. Very poor play by Cleveland State.
They were trying to lob, and I don't think Stewart realized it, and he went away.
Alford. Big rebound by Mudd as he went over top of Indiana's Daryl Thomas. Under 13 minutes to go.
You can just see Cleveland State, they didn't have any problem with lack of confidence to start, but their confidence level's going up and up.
Around the horn, Hood. Salters.
Oh, geez, Salters almost got around Thomas and got his 4th foul.
This is Stewart, back to Salters. They're a little bit more patient at this point.
10 seconds on the shot clock.
Corbin backs away. 4 seconds on the clock, they get it. That is Paul Stewart's 4th point.
And here comes the press once again. I didn't know that Cleveland State could be that patient.
I did not either. 11 points. That's the longest lead of the day for Cleveland State. Indiana's longest lead of the day was at 4 points. The shot is no good. And a foul is on Mudd of Cleveland State after the rebound. His 3rd. He's the 2nd player for Cleveland State who picked up 3 fouls.
That was a tough break for Cleveland State. I didn't really think that was such a good shot by Stu Robinson. I think he needed to wait a little longer before he let that one go. Mudd was actually in good position. The shot was so hard, though, it went right to Ricky Callaway.
At the line for Indiana, Ricky Callaway. Well, you talk about tradition, you talk about Indiana in basketball. 4 national championships. They won it in 1940 when Marv Huffman led it. 53 when Bob Shalott set the all-time scoring record at Indiana. 76 with Kent Benson, 81 with Isaiah Thomas. The last 2 with Bob Knight at the helm.
Well, I don't think the Vikings from Cleveland State care a bit for the Indiana tradition.
They respect it and want to beat it.
That's absolutely right, and they're sure they can.
Earlier this afternoon, St. Joe's defeated Richmond up here, 60-59 at Syracuse. This is Ramsey. Ramsey has only taken one other shot in this half, and he hit it.
That was good defense by Indiana. They forced the perimeter shot, which was their game plan.
Callaway. Stu Robinson. Back to Callaway.
The Vikings back to man against Indiana. Look at how hard they're working.
That's Alford. Big move by Alford. And a good follow-up. We have a foul on Cleveland State.
Foul's going to be against Clinton Ramsey. Alford is who created that play. Nice move down the middle by Steve Alford. You get a chance to see Alford penetrating to the basket right here. Good defense by Cleveland State. Now watch Alford in among the big guys, gets the tip, and that is enough to keep it alive for Daryl Thomas. As he goes back up, we're going to get a foul call against Clinton Ramsey.
Of course, Alford is 6'2". Ramsey was 6'5". And the man at the line who finally was able to get the ball in a foul is 6'7" Daryl Thomas. His 10th point. 3 Indiana players have now reached double figures. Thomas now has 11. McFadden, the mouse, is back into the game. He's in replacing Steve Corbett.
We might want to mention, Ralph, that when Cleveland State went on the run that stretched the lead out to 11, Thomas was on the bench. So his presence for Indiana, I think, is very important.
Clinton Smith to Bryant. Bryant back in after being injured earlier. Ramsey, McFadden.
Oh, and there's the 4th foul on Thomas. Good move by Eric Mudd coming across. He got good position on the side opposite the ball and then was able to cut very hard to the ball. Thomas was out of position.
4 fouls on him. That is 16 fouls against Indiana. Bob Knight just sits back and thinks about things in life.
Looks like Bob Knight's going to leave him in with 4 fouls.
10:42 to go. Bryant has already used the dribble.
He wasn't in any danger of 5 seconds because nobody was guarding him.
We've got a charging foul. It's going to be on Clinton Smith. And now he has 4 fouls.
And that's a big call. Clinton Smith is the leading scorer for Cleveland State. Once again, he's going to try to use his quickness and ability to put the ball on the floor to get by. That's an awfully close call. That could have been the 5th foul on Daryl Thomas. We'll have to wait to see how big a call that actually was.
We've got 10:33 to wait. 64-57.
And Bob Knight knows how big a call it was because he gets Daryl Thomas out of the game.
I asked Kevin Mackey yesterday if he'd ever looked at Bob Knight's video on coaching. He says, I bought both of them. They're part of my library, and I watch them every year. The Jane Fonda of basketball coaches, Bob Knight. This is Stu Robinson as Robinson comes up with number 8.
Nice move by Stu Robinson. That's something we haven't seen Indiana do very much of, and that's penetrate inside.
And you see Indiana a little bit start to play their ball game now. They cut it from 11 down to just a 64-59 game. Back to 5.
They are forcing Cleveland State to be much more patient and to play that half-court game. And when Cleveland State's not scoring, they can't set the press.
We have passed the midway point of the second half.
So good defense by Indiana is going to pay a couple of dividends. It's going to slow the Vikings down, and it's going to make it easier for the Hoosiers because they won't have to operate against the press.
We have got a foul inside against Indiana. The foul looked to me like it was going to be on Todd Meyer.
I think that is who their officials decided was the guilty culprit. Clinton Ramsey operating inside, and boy, does he draw a crowd. There's 4 Hoosiers there. That's a break for Cleveland State to have the foul in that situation.
At the line, Clinton Ramsey, he has 16 points. That's Meyer.
Ramsey's missed his last 2 from the free throw line.
A lot of great teams, the NCAA this year. A lot of great coaches. Who's your choice for Coach of the Year, Dan Bonner?
I really think that the Coach of the Year is Eddie Sutton.
That'd be a great birthday present for him. He reached 50 yesterday.
Oh, he's getting old, huh? I think Sutton, the job that Sutton did at Kentucky, nobody picked them to finish higher than 3rd in the SEC, and they ended up finishing the end of the season ranked 3rd in the country. So I think that's fairly impressive.
Ramsey gets 17. One more try coming for this young man out of Toledo, Ohio. It is up. It is there. 18 points for Clinton Ramsey. 66-59. There's a timeout on the floor as the teams gather around their respective coaches. With the score, Cleveland State 66, Indiana 55.
Introducing the all-new Sobakawa Cloud Pillow, a pillow 300 years in the making, based on the traditional Asian buckwheat pillow. The Sobakawa Cloud is filled with over 10 million air beads, a virtual sea of clouds. It does 3 things no other pillow does. Gives adjustable support, cools your head, and never breaks down. We placed eggs on the bottom of these cylinders, filled this cylinder with feathers from an expensive pillow. This 10-pound weight crushes the feathers and smashes the eggs. In this tube, we have stuffing from a fiber pillow, and it offers little resistance. Then we tried memory foam, and the weight wins again. Now watch as the weight hits the air beads. They absorb the shock, and the eggs are safe. Order your Sobakawa Cloud Pillow for just $19.99. Call right now and we'll double your order. You'll receive a second Sobakawa pillow and pillowcase for just the shipping and handling. But you have to call now.
To order your Sobakawa Cloud Pillow, call 1-800-355-7378, 1-800-355-7378. Call now.
Do you have dishes with spots, clogged shower heads, water appliances not working properly? These are limescale problems caused by the mineral buildup in your water. Now there's help from HydroCare, a patented solution sold worldwide. There's no plumbing required, no magnetic coils, no harmful salts. Just clip it on and limescale is gone. HydroCare's technology sends a strong radio frequency to prevent buildup and dissolve existing scale that will protect your entire plumbing system and all the water appliances. With HydroCare, there are no salt bags to lug. You'll be drinking healthy minerals instead of salt. One unit pays for itself by increasing energy efficiency and cutting appliance costs, which can add up to $1,200 a year in savings. Stop throwing your money down the drain. It's easy and there's no maintenance. Satisfaction guaranteed, and you'll save money. To order the amazing HydroCare and eliminate limescale, call or visit our website.
To order HydroCare, call 1-800-697-1996.
ESPN, your NBA destination. MVP candidate Derrick Rose and the Bulls have established themselves as title contenders.
There he goes again.
Tomorrow, they charge into Orlando to test their mettle in the East against Dwight Howard and the Magic. Then, LeBron James and the Heat head west for a huge showdown with Manu Ginobili and the league-leading Spurs. Bulls Magic at 7 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN 3D. Then Heat Spurs at 9:30 tomorrow on ESPN.
A 66-59 ball game. Cleveland State has led most of the way here in Syracuse as the Viking likes what he is seeing this afternoon. This is Ralph Hacker along with Dan Bonner. We're happy you could join us from here in the Carrier Dome.
It's been a very interesting basketball game thus far. Cleveland State coach Kevin Mackey said that he felt they could play with Indiana as long as they could force turnovers and control tempo. They've done that so far. You get a look at the foul trouble situation. Clinton Smith with 4, Mudd with 3. I think Indiana's foul problems are more serious because they're not as deep as Cleveland State.
A few seconds ago, Indiana had hit 4 out of 5. They're now 5 out of 11 for this half. Cleveland is 9 out of 14.
Indiana scrambling against the press. They were able to avoid the turnover that time, although it looked like a close thing.
3 seconds. 3. Give me a 3.
Callaway. You can hear Cleveland State asking for a 3-second call.
It is on the way. The rebound by Mudd. He has 12 rebounds for the game.
Good block out by Mudd.
McFadden. That's his kind of game. He just couldn't get it to fall.
And Andre Harris showing you how valuable he is to the Hoosiers on the rebounding end.
Let's see how the experience of Indiana holds up. Just like that. Steve Alford coming through with 18.
Alford, in the last couple of trips down the court, has shown the desire to penetrate inside, and when he has done that, the Hoosiers have been successful.
Ramsey draws the foul. It's going to be on Meyer, his second. Well, Ramsey is a tough individual. 205, 6'5".
Ramsey is a tough guy inside. Now here's another tough guy, Steve Alford. You can see he just beats Eddie Bryant to the baseline. Good screen inside by Andre Harris to keep the help away. Now watch the foul here. As Ramsey turns to the basket, Meyer reaches in and hits him, and then Meyer, to add insult to injury, looked like he got a shoulder and arm in the face and went down.
Clinton Ramsey will get the second try. Both teams are in the bonus situation. It is 67-61 Cleveland State. The two coaches, Mackey and Knight. Rebound comes off to Indiana as Rick Callaway has it.
Indiana has battled very hard in the game. They have a chance now to cut it to 4, and that's as close as they will have been in a long time.
Stu Robinson. We said before they like to get the ball into Alford's hands.
Oh, what a move by Alford.
And he draws the foul. Alford couldn't get it to fall, but he made a great move. And it was a pretty good shot from that point, as we'll look at it again.
Alford does a real nice job with the pump fake. As you can see right there, you got to respect that pump fake with Alford, simply because he's such a great shooter. And then he maintains his pivot foot very well to draw the foul against Paul Stewart.
That is the third foul against Stewart. There'll be 2 tries coming to Steve Alford. This next one, if he makes it, will give him 20 for the game.
Alford may not be as quick as the Cleveland State guards matching up against him, but Cleveland State, as we said, has to respect that pump fake, and he has used the pump fake to beat them all day long.
And he got this one for 20 points. Alford averages 22.4. It's back to a 4-point game.
And it's defensively, more than anything else, that's gotten Indiana back in the basketball game. They've made Cleveland State play a half-court game.
Mudd.
Oh, great move by Mudd. It was good defense by Indiana. I don't know how you can play the inside defense much better.
Everybody's back and set up now. Tripping foul on Bryant as he trips Stu Robinson.
You might say in a normal situation, Ralph, that was a bad foul, but that's the kind of game that Cleveland State plays. They do some gambling, and every once in a while it pays off. Sometime it doesn't. Good no call right there. Ramsey went down, but I don't think there was enough contact. Now Bryant's going to go after the ball, and as I say, with a lot of teams you'd say, well, that's a very bad foul, but with Cleveland State, sort of in for a dime, in for a dollar. They're going to gamble, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Stu Robinson steps up. He has 8 points. 2 of 2 from the line today. McFadden sneaking in the back door for the rebound. Indiana down by 6 points. 7:42 to go. He stepped on the baseline.
Good defense by Stu Robinson. The key down there is not to give up the baseline, and even though McFadden went around him, he went off the court.
I've been impressed by the defense that Indiana's done the entire ball game on Ken McFadden. They kept the ball out of his hands as Indiana gets a timeout. Just before the 5 count got to them.
That's right.
7:35 to go. There's time out on the court with a score. Cleveland State 69, Indiana 63.
Look closely at history in the making. This $50 Buffalo gold piece is the purest gold coin ever struck by the U.S. government. It's the first U.S. coin ever struck using .9999, that's 4 nines, pure 24-karat gold. Its design is based on the famous Buffalo nickel of 1913 to 38. Wildly popular with investors and collectors, the U.S. government had to stop production because of a shortage of specially made gold blanks. It's no wonder the price of this edition is going through the roof. Now you can reserve your own copy of the $50 gold Buffalo clad in 14 milligrams of pure gold. National Collectors Mint's private non-monetary minting recreates James Earl Frazier's American Buffalo against a mirror-like background on one side, and his iconic Native American Indian head stands out in stunning relief on the other. The final issue price was to be set at $50 per proof, but during our special release, this 24-karat pure gold-clad masterpiece can be yours for only $9.95, with gold skyrocketing past $1,300 an ounce. Price can only be guaranteed for 7 days. Each new 2011 $50 gold Buffalo Tribute proof comes with an individually numbered certificate of authenticity verifying that each piece is clad in 14 milligrams of pure 24-karat gold, is proof struck, and is based on the famous design of James Earl Frazier's Buffalo nickel. There is a strict limit of 5 proofs per caller. Distribution will take place in registration number order. Earliest reservations receive the lowest registration numbers, so you must hurry. Avoid disappointment and future regret. Call now.
To order, call 1-800-272-4969. That's 1-800-272-4969. Strict limit of 5 proofs per caller. Call 1-800-272-4969. That's 1-800-272-4969.
.35 to go, and the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, where over 17,500 seats have been sold for this NCAA first round. You see Cleveland State leading 69-63, and they have led for most of the ball game. Timeouts becoming a factor for Indiana now. They only have 2 left. Cleveland has their full complement of 4.
Indiana's had to use those timeouts to avoid 5-second counts against the press. That's Steve Isle in the game for the first time.
Stu Robinson, he's played an awful lot of basketball today. This is Alford. Cleveland State continues to lead from here in Syracuse, 69-63. This is Ralph Hacker along with Dan Bonner. It's been an exciting game for Cleveland State fans as we just got the second goaltending call of the day on Indiana, and it makes it 71-63 Cleveland State.
Andre Harris giving you a sample of his great jumping ability, but now watch the Indiana defense. There's 3 guys right around Eric Mudd. He did well to get the ball up on the board, and then Harris goaltended it.
Indiana starts a run, and Cleveland State answers back, as you just see. Andre Harris get his 12th point. 6:44 to go, 71-65. Indiana's leads have been at 2 and at 4. They've only had 4 short times today in the first half. They trailed by 4 at the intermission. The last time the game was tied was a 22-all.
The impressive thing about Cleveland State the last few minutes is that it's been a half-court game, and they've been successful against Indiana. It hasn't been the pressing run-up-and-down game it was in the first half, and yet Cleveland State continues to lead.
Cleveland State showing us in this half they can be patient if it's called for, as Ramsey hits it. On the move, gets it 21 points and puts it back to a 73-65 game, Cleveland State.
These guys from Cleveland State learn the trade on the playground, and that's the kind of a shot you see on the playground all the time.
Galloway. Indiana scrapping. Galloway finally coming back.
Big break for Indiana.
Steve Alford with the ball. Alford has picked up 20 points. Andre Harris, who is 6 out of 7 for the half, misses it. Missed only his second shot.
And the crowd here, Ralph, is starting to believe in the Cleveland State Vikings. There's 5.5 minutes left. Cleveland State is up by 8.
Cleveland State. To Ramsey. We expected a big game out of him, and he's delivered it. This is Stewart. Now to Bryant. And Cleveland State wants to use one of their timeouts. They have 3 timeouts left. There's timeout on the floor here at Syracuse at the Carrier Dome with the score Cleveland State 73, Indiana 65.
Do you know that you can get cash for your unwanted cell phones?
Hi, Anthony Sullivan here for UCell. It's simple. You send in your unwanted cell phones and you get cash fast. Go online now to find out how much your cell phones are worth. You'll get an instant quote, so you'll know how much to expect for your phones. Request your free mailing kit. Everything you need to safely send in your cell phones is included. And best of all, UCell pays the shipping and the insurance for you. Your check will be issued and mailed directly to you. UCell accepts all cell phones, any make or model. Your private information will be removed, and cell phones with no value will be recycled responsibly. Every day you hold on to your unwanted cell phones, they lose value. So go online now for an instant quote and get money for your cell phones quickly and easily with UCell.
Just type in the letters USELL.com.
Inventors, do you have an idea for an invention or a new product? InventHelp can help you try to patent your idea and submit it to companies. InventHelp is America's largest invention company with sales offices in over 50 cities nationwide. Call today for your free information.
This Saturday, the Nationwide Series heads to Las Vegas, where quick decisions and risky moves reign supreme.
Keep digging.
And everyone is looking to make their mark. All bets are off as Trevor Bayne, Ricky Stenhouse, and the Young Guns try to build momentum in the series, while savvy pros Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards look to keep up their blistering pace. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Las Vegas. Coverage begins Saturday at 2:30 Eastern on ABC.
Saturday, Big East Player of the Year contenders Kemba Walker and Ben Hansbrough leave it all on the floor. Then, Texas is determined to avoid a repeat of last season's slide. Notre Dame versus Connecticut at 2. Texas versus Baylor at 9. Saturday on ESPN.
ESPN Fantasy Baseball. Sign up for free at ESPN.com.
Welcome back. I'm Kara Capuano. Every March, an unknown team makes a shocking stroll through the big dance. In 1993, 15th seed Santa Clara and freshman guard Steve Nash tried to see if the slipper fit against Damon Stoudemire and Arizona. Here's Mike Tirico with this SportsCenter replay.
Lute Olson let loose. This time every year, he said, the Pac-10 gets no respect. Well, with Michigan moved west, the Wildcats were forced to earn respect from the 2 seed. Starting against 15 seed Santa Clara, champs of the West Coast Conference, a team that lost to Pac-10 doormat Stanford by 31 this year. This figured to be easy, it was anything but. Kevin Dunn on the break, and Santa Clara leads by 12 in the first half. But at the end of the first and start of the second half, Chris Mills and Arizona go on a 25-0 run. Dick Davey, first-year coach, down 12. But as Broncos come back, they out-hustle Arizona all night. Kevin Dunn, the rebound, the putback, the Broncos by 3. Down the stretch, at the line, freshman Steve Nash hit 8 consecutive free throws. Santa Clara up 6. Wildcats down but not out. Chris Mills takes what looked like it was going to be a turnover and turns it into a 3. Makes it a 3-point deficit. Now, after a key miss by Dunn, 2 missed free throws, down 3. David Stoudemire to tie. Draws iron, nothing else. And one of the biggest upsets in the history of the tournament. This is what we call in the office pools a bracket breaker, as Santa Clara knocks off 2-seed Arizona 64-61, losing despite the 25-0 run. Pete Eisenrich had 19. Arizona was held to 1 field goal in a 15-minute stretch in the second half.
Let's head back now to one of the decade's greatest games, Cleveland State versus Indiana in the 1986 NCAAs, right here on ESPN Classic.
It is 73-65, 5:10 left in the ball game. Cleveland State leading most of the way.
Cleveland State has done a nice job in the second half, forcing some tough shots on the part of Indiana. Get a chance to see Andre Harris here penetrating to the basket. Now that's an open jumper. That's something Indiana hasn't had too many of. But Eric Mudd comes down with the rebound.
Bob Knight has seen his club shoot 44% of this half. Cleveland State is at 57% of the half.
And again, the surprising thing about this is that the game in the second half has been played much more at Indiana's pace than at Cleveland State's. It's been basically a half-court game, but Cleveland State has punched the ball inside very effectively.
Let's correct the stat we gave you. It's 67% Cleveland State is shooting. Red hot. Ramsey. Ramsey with 23 big ones.
There's a foul on McFadden going for the steal. As we said, the gambling defense once in a while gets you in trouble. But Clinton Ramsey has just had a great game, and you take players with backgrounds like the players of the Cleveland State. They play a loose game, they play a playground type of game, and if you make them feel that they're going to beat you, then they're just going to get right on top of you, and they're going to keep punching until you go down.
The bio of Clinton Ramsey is super. 3-year starter. He started 88 of 90 ball games since he has been at Cleveland State. He led the conference in steals this year. This game makes 27 double-figure games for him.
It's interesting that the neutral, supposedly neutral crowd here in the Carrier Dome is behind the underdog.
That is 9 points for Stu Robinson.
Of course, maybe Syracuse would rather play Cleveland State.
Probably looking ahead a little bit and hoping the winner of this game will play St. Joseph's. 4:52 left. You saw the score. Alford hawking away at Ed Bryant.
Now this is interesting. It looks like Cleveland State is going to try to spread the court a little. I don't know about slowing them down. They've been playing very well at a quick pace, but the one thing this does is it may give their penetrating ability a chance to shine a slightly more than it has already.
14 seconds on the shot clock. 4:25 left on the game clock. Ramsey. You're right. He comes up with 25 as they penetrated beautifully.
They're playing slower, but with the court spread, there's more lanes to the basket.
Indiana 10 down and in trouble with a little over 4 minutes to go.
Alford. Great rebound by Callaway.
Indeed it was for number 10. Under 4 minutes to go, 77-69.
Indiana hanging tough, but it's getting critical now.
Almost throwing it over, but the mouse reached out.
Good hands by McFadden. Now the dangerous guy in this is the guy with the ball right now, Clinton Ramsey. He's shown the ability to put it on the deck and go by anybody who Indiana has tried to match up against him.
He's 9 out of 14 for the ball game from the outside.
3.5 left.
17 seconds on the shot clock. Bryant, Mudd. Eric Mudd, unexpected help coming in, but they have called him. Coach Mackey has called him his best ball player. McFadden almost with a steal.
Good control by Alford.
Alford. Rebound comes to Mudd. Indiana in trouble with 3 minutes to go. They're down by 10. The crowd is behind Cleveland State.
Everybody in here thinks it's actually going to happen, Ralph. This spread offense has worked to perfection. The floor is spread. There's not very much defensive help. There's plenty of gaps in the defense, and Cleveland State's been finding it.
When it comes to rebounds, don't count out Eric Mudd, 33 of Cleveland State. He's pulled out 10 today. 2:35 to go on the game clock. 10 seconds now on the shot clock. Bryant started up, knocked away. That was a pretty good move as Alford knocked it away. Only 5 seconds on the shot clock as he'll get it back in. It won't reset with the ball being knocked away as Winston Morgan comes in, replacing Callaway.
Winston Morgan a bit quicker than Callaway is in to try to help against the spread offense, and Kevin Mackey's reminding his troops that they got to get it up quickly.
Ramsey, he's not going to make it. They don't make it. The ball will be turned. The shot clock should have sounded.
Well, it's very difficult to hear in here when the crowd gets involved in the game. And I think official Blaine Sylvester blew his whistle and ruled that it was a shot clock violation, but nobody could hear, and that's what the officials are discussing now, and that's the call.
Herb Shapiro went over, talked to the official score after he had talked to Blaine Sylvester, and it is indeed the call.
It's a perfect example. The Indiana players stopped playing because they thought it was a shot clock violation, but you got to play till you hear that whistle.
They almost lost it on the inbounds play. Andre Harris out of Alford. 2:10 left. It is tapped in by Andre Harris and a foul on Ramsey.
Boy, that is a big break for Indiana. Harris rising up above everybody else to tip it in. Stu Robinson with the drive to the basket. I think Mudd actually got a piece of the ball. Look at Harris get up there. Nobody blocks him out. A bit of a touch foul called on Ramsey. But Indiana now has a chance for a 4-point play to cut it to 6. And we've still got 2 minutes and 5 seconds left.
He'll be trying to convert at this particular point, though, a 3-point conversion. He got the bucket. He does. That'll cut it down to 7.
Okay, it's just one free throw.
They got the bucket.
All right, good. Get carried away here. You don't know what you're doing.
Andre Harris.
Well, that's a violation. If he misses, he'll get another.
You called it, Coach.
Now the mouse stepped in.
That's the second time today that has occurred against Cleveland State, and Indiana has taken a chance to redeem themselves.
Well, we'll see what kind of poise Cleveland State has now. They've been running the whole game ahead of Indiana. We're getting down to crunch time now. That's a charge.
The foul is going to be on Winston Morgan, his second. We've talked a lot about Cleveland State. They've got a good team. They're a scrappy team. But I also think it's interesting to note that they have 4 players who originally signed and went to school there, who transferred to other schools, who are still playing or were playing in postseason tournament ball games, like Doug Schultz of Akron, Jim Less of Bradley, Tim Lamp of Miami of Ohio, and Dave Colbert, who played for Dayton in the NIT. The others, of course, are in the NCAA tournament. 1:49 seconds. The clock will stay in the corner.
Now Indiana really cannot afford the luxury of letting Cleveland State run the clock down and then giving up a good shot. They got to go get the ball.
20 seconds on the shot clock. 1:35. Bryant in the lane. Rebound. Bryant got it. That saved him another 45 seconds.
Clinton Smith got his hand on the basketball. Tipped it back to Bryant.
The foul is going to be on Indiana. Andre Harris draws his third. The people in Hoosier land have got to be surprised at the outcome of this one.
Cleveland State's second effort has been just great. A great stop by Bryant. Then you see Clinton Smith reaching that big hand out, tipping it to Bryant, who's able to control. What effort all day by Cleveland State.
And Clinton Ramsey has led them in scoring. He has 25 points. One in a bonus coming now. 26 points. Ramsey, an AP honorable mention All-American in 1985.
What a great shot of the bench. Those guys are over there. That's close enough they can feel it, but they're not ready to blow up yet.
He got it for 27. 81-71. Indiana down by 10. A minute 15 to go. Andre Harris. He has 16. And now Indiana calls their timeout. They'll have one more timeout left. Indiana has used 3. There's timeout of the 4 with the score. Cleveland State 81, Indiana 73.
I don't consider myself really a tough guy. Nothing is more humbling than getting your butt kicked. The first day I fought, I must have been a 10-year-old kid. This is the most frightening day of my life. The reason for the fight was because the guy stole my pigeon. This is the first thing I ever loved in my life, the pigeon.
Taking on Tyson. New series, Sunday, March 6th at 10. Only on Animal Planet.
ESPN, your NBA destination. MVP candidate Derrick Rose and the Bulls have established themselves as title contenders.
There he goes again.
Tomorrow they charge into Orlando to test their mettle in the East against Dwight Howard and the Magic. Then LeBron James and the Heat head west for a huge showdown with Manu Ginobili and the league-leading Spurs. Bulls Magic at 7 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN 3D. Then Heat Spurs at 9:30 tomorrow on ESPN.
NCAA TV and marketing rights fees. Where does the money go? Long answer, 96% of the revenue is used to fund 88 championships and support 1,055 member colleges and universities, who together provide $2 billion annually in financial aid to more than 400,000 student athletes so they can compete and learn. Short answer, we put our money where our mission is.
Do you want to own a brand new HP, Dell, or other name brand computer and improve your credit at the same time? If so, Tronics Country says you're approved, guaranteed.
I wanted a new computer, but I couldn't get financed. Then I called Tronics Country. They approved me, delivered my new computer, and are reporting on my credit.
If you have an active checking account and can afford low, flexible payments, you're already approved, guaranteed, for this special offer. There's no credit check, so you won't be turned down.
Tronics Country approved me quickly.
I got instant approval, and it was easy. Their flexible payment plans made it easy on my budget. And my kids are getting ahead in school.
I started my own business, and now I'm my own boss.
Call now, and with your paid order, we'll add a free color printer, free MP3 music player, and free LCD TV. You heard right. Free printer, free MP3 player, and free LCD TV. Call now and tell us where you want your brand new computer and free gifts shipped today.
I'm glad I called.
Cleveland State 81, Indiana 73. Ralph Acker with Dan Bonner in the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York. Cleveland State has done a nice job of spreading the defense of Indiana.
You get a look here, see what kind of a situation the spread creates. Now, when Ramsey catches the ball, as he penetrates to the basket, there's a wide crease. Nobody there to help out. It's not until Isle comes over when Ramsey's actually shooting the ball, and that's what Cleveland State's trying to create, those creases.
Now they face the Indiana all-court press.
They got to get it across half court. They have a 10-second violation.
They just made it. Bryant, 57 seconds on the game clock. 81-73. The foul. Nope, no foul on the line, on the sideline by Ramsey.
Cleveland State has been dishing it out all day with the pressing defense. Now we're going to have to see if they can take it. Not a very good decision by Bryant to give the ball to Ramsey in that situation. He dribbled the ball out of bounds.
Come on, Sting! Ah!
To the hoop, Indiana's GD comes up with his basket. Steve comes up with his first two.
It's a tough situation for Isle. It looked like he was a little hesitant. You could hear his Indiana teammates yelling, "Come on, Steve." He took it very hard to the basket. That's Indiana's last timeout.
Are you ready to get real about what it takes to have a great core? Are you ready to put your upper abs, lower abs, and obliques on fire? Then you are ready for T-Core, the radical new core workout for men that is going to kick your butt in just 6 minutes, guaranteed. Ordinary crunches can strain your neck and shoulders, but T-Core harnesses the ab-flattening, muscle-burning power of up to 120 pounds of progressive resistance in a full-range seated crunch that works your upper abs, lower abs, and even those hard-to-reach obliques. Just sit down, plug in the T-Core, and start pumping. You will feel the burn in seconds. And with T-Core's unique swivel pad, you move from side to side to target those hard-to-reach obliques. Then lean back for a radical leg lift to give those lower abs an insane burn.
That's it.
Now you can shrink your midsection, build definition, and core strength fast. And now the breakthrough T-Core can be yours for the radical introductory price of only $29.95. Call now and we'll also send you this 6-minute upper body workout DVD that will hold your feet to the fire through the 6-minute super effective muscle burning T-Core workout. One simple adjustment takes it from 40 pounds to 80 pounds to 120 pounds of radical resistance that targets right where it matters. All done while you are seated. 3 exercises, 6 minutes, and an ironclad kick butt guarantee. Do the T-Core workout once. If your abs are not on fire, send it back for a full refund. Think you can handle it? Then call or go online now and reshape your core in just 6 minutes a day with T-Core for Men.
Call 1-800-698-2709 or log on to tcformen.com. Order now.
This Saturday, the Nationwide Series heads to Las Vegas, where quick decisions and risky moves reign supreme.
Keep digging.
And everyone is looking to make their mark. All bets are off as Trevor Bayne, Ricky Stenhouse, and the Young Guns try to build momentum in the series, while savvy pros Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards look to keep up their blistering pace. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Las Vegas. Coverage begins Saturday at 2:30 Eastern on ABC.
Welcome back. I'm Kara Capuano. What was popular back in 1986? For starters, Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles topped the charts that year. Other big smashes in 1986 were Stuck With You by Huey Lewis and the News and How Will I Know and Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston. On TV, millions tuned into the exploits of Crockett and Tubbs on Miami Vice, which became one of the first shows to incorporate popular music. And the year's biggest toys and fads included Cabbage Patch Kids. Remember fighting over them in toy stores? Also the futuristic game Laser Tag. Let's stay in that era as our 1986 NCAA first-round matchup between Cleveland State and Indiana continues only on ESPN Classic.
Indiana 30 of 56 for the ball game. And the inbound pass hit his Isle, drawing the foul.
That's what Indiana is left with at the moment, Ralph. If the ball does get inbounds, then Indiana has to foul right away. Isle has not played very much. That's his first foul. He's the obvious guy to give the fouls. You get a look at a disappointed Ricky Callaway sitting there on the bench for the Hoosiers.
Cleveland State has hit 67.9 from the free throw line this year. At the line is Eric Mudd. He's hit 61.4. So they may have handled and fouled the right man. They did. 37 seconds to go. Alford closes it by 2. Alford gets 22.
Indiana does not have any timeouts. Mudd does a nice job getting rid of the ball.
Isle draws the foul.
That's a good play by Isle. He absolutely, even though that's a two-shot foul, there's no way that you can let that guy go in for the layup or the dunk. Isle did a nice job to have the foul not look like an intentional foul. Smith will get to go to the line for two, but Indiana will get the ball back. Very good pass coming down the court to Clinton Smith, who had gotten away up court. That's all Isle could do. He does a nice job to keep him from getting it in the basket.
And Clinton Smith drops this one through. His 13th point. Kevin Mackey. He's got to be a happy man now with 21 seconds to go. His team leads it 82-77 over IU. 14 points by Clinton Smith. 20 seconds. Stu Robinson.
That's it, Ralph. That's it. Game's over. Alford's going to commit the foul. 10 seconds left. Ramsey's going to go to the line for two more, and the Cleveland State Vikings are getting a standing ovation from this crowd in the Carrier Dome.
When we opened up about an hour and 50 minutes ago, we told you that Cleveland State felt as if they could win this ball game, and they were sincere about their thoughts. All the way Vikings, it says. We may be watching the Cinderella team of the NCAA 1986. There's a timeout on the court with a score. Cleveland State 83, the IU Hoosiers 77.
Meet Kate, mild-mannered mother of two. Without higher education, Kate was always worried about her future. One night, Kate found the answer. By logging on to this website, she found hundreds of online and campus universities that helped her discover her future. So what are you waiting for? Call the number on your screen to start your education in a field you love. Call now and find the answers to your higher education future today.
Right now, it's just a house. A hollow structure comprised of steel beams, wooden planks, and empty chairs. But on game day, this house becomes a home. ESPN, the home court of college hoops.
NCAA TV and marketing rights fees. Where does the money go? Long answer, 96% of the revenue is used to fund 88 championships and support 1,055 member colleges and universities, who together provide $2 billion annually in financial aid to more than 400,000 student athletes so they can compete and learn. Short answer, we put our money where our mission is.
Do you all? Millions of women worldwide love Bare Minerals.
This is smooth, it's nice, and it covers. I like that.
Only Bare Minerals looks like beautiful bare skin, while it covers whatever you want it to. And now you can get our latest kit with our totally new, totally spill-proof Click Lock Go foundation. For over 75% off retail, our new kit comes with Bare Minerals foundation in the shade that's just right for you. Warmth for a healthy glow. Mineral Veil, the ultimate finishing touch. And Bare Minerals Flawless Application Brush. Call now and get 3 full-size gifts worth $57.95 free. Purchased separately, you'd spend over $120. Our original Get Started kit was a great deal at 2 payments of $29.99. But now you can get all this for just 1 payment of $29.99. Save over $90 and get a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Call 1-800-229-6406. Ask how you can receive this handy compact. Call 1-800-229-6406 now.
Basketball in the 1980s saw a little of everything. Mammoth upsets, national championship winning jumpers, and even broken backboards. Without further ado, we now bring you college basketball's plays of the decade from the 1980s.
Here's a drive by Capehart. Capehart going in. Capehart blocked by Skeeter Roberts. Boy, did he get a great block. Blanton Jackson got a shot away. Go! The clock doesn't stop till he pushes it. I can't believe it now! Nick Anderson hit the shot. Oh!
College basketball in the 80s, filled with the excitement of buzzer beaters and the long, long, long shots like U.S. Reed's winner for Arkansas. Michael Jordan again for North Carolina. Lorenzo Charles for 1983's Wolfpack win over Houston. And Les Henson's 89-footer created pandemonium as Florida State beat Virginia Tech. You want Hoosier hysteria? In 1987, Keith Smart's 16-foot jumper gave Indiana a 74-73 win over Syracuse.
Smart down low to Daryl Thomas. 8 seconds to go. Out to Smart. Baseline jump shot in the air. Good! 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. The Hoosiers have won the national championship.
You want more memorable moments? How about Dwight Anderson's shot from behind the basket? It wasn't a game winner, but how can you forget it? Speaking of forgetting, Notre Dame forgot to play defense on Danny Ainge in 1981. Yes, there were upsets and buzzer beaters, but the 80s also brought changes in the game, like the 45-second clock and the three-pointer. The new rules helped Loyola Marymount and U.S. International break 5 NCAA scoring records last January 31st for a total of 331 points. Another record maker, Georgianne Wells, with an early Christmas gift, became the first woman to dunk in an NCAA game. But the play of the 80s in college basketball may belong to Jerome Lane.
Lane's on the other wing. He finds...
Yeah! Send it in, Jerome!
Yes, a smashing decade it was. I'm Chris Fowler, ESPN.
Still ahead, the biggest pop culture phenoms of 1986. Let's head back now to one of the decade's greatest games, Cleveland State versus Indiana in the 1986 NCAAs, right here on ESPN Classic.
Did you know that you can get cash for your unwanted cell phones?
On ESPN.
83-77 is our score. Number 44, Clinton Ramsey, who has 27 points, will be stepping up to the free throw line. Dries the socks. His hands off on the socks. We'll have one in a bonus. What a story the nation has seen this afternoon in basketball here. Rebound belongs to Indiana.
Indiana doesn't have any timeouts. Cleveland State can just, they don't even have to bring the ball inbounds.
Alford just 24.
He can just hold it. That's it. Game's over.
If you're riding Cinderella, Center Mail at 2451 Euclid Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, because they have just advanced today as Cleveland State. Kevin Mackey rejoices as his team has beaten Bob Knight's Indiana Hoosiers. The final score is Cleveland State 83, Indiana 79.
Cleveland State went on to defeat St. Joseph's in the second round to advance to the Sweet 16. Their magical March run ended in the regional semifinals when David Robinson and Navy defeated the Vikings 71-70. Kevin Mackey led Cleveland State to the NIT the next 2 seasons, but his career with the Vikings was tarnished after the program was put on probation. Mackey was fired as Vikings head coach in 1990 after being arrested on a drunk driving charge. Meanwhile, Indiana rebounded in